The Girl in the Spider's Web, A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo Story. If you can't tell from the ridiculous title they changed halfway through the campaign for advertising this movie, this is A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo movie about Lisbeth Salander, and they kind of tried to sell it as its own kind of movie where you don't have to see anything else and know anything else about it, but you really do. If you don't know what's going on, you will not figure out in this movie.
Are you not Lisbeth Salander, the righter of wrongs? The girl who hurts men, who hurt women. I could never figure it out. Why did you help everyone but me?
So going into this, I really like the original Swedish version of these movies, and I watched the American version, and I didn't read the books, but my dad was a big fan of the books, so I know a decent amount about them. And, going into it, I liked the trailers, and I was looking forward to it. But there were a couple things I was worried about. Mainly the whole idea of adding A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo Story into the title of the movie. And there's also some stuff where, like you said, how they're selling it was just odd. And I couldn't figure out if they made a really good movie but didn't know how to sell it, or they made a crap movie and also didn't know how to sell it. And it's somewhere in between, but it's mostly leaning towards the crap. Because, they have some fun moments in this movie, but as a whole, it's a mess. Like, to me, it feels like the fourth James Bond movie, where no one's really caring anymore, so they bring in a supervillain that has ties to James Bond's past, and they duke it out for a movie. And that's all this is. And it's disappointing. Especially in the first book. I mean, there's some too, but especially in the first book. I mean, it's mainly a mystery. Yes, there's thrilling parts to it and there's action, but, the core of the film and the story in the books is a mystery. And in this one, there is zero mystery. Like, the only possible mystery or, plot twist is that Lisbeth Salander's sister is alive, and she's an evil bitch that's running her father's company. And that's literally in the trailers. They spoiled any sort of mystery the movie had in the frickin' trailers. So it's like, there's no mystery. It's kind of stupid. And it becomes then just like a female James Bond superhero story. A hacker superhero. And honestly, I know that hacking is not cinematic. Like, real hacking is not very cinematic. But in this one, she's just like, boop! And everything's hacked around her. Like, boop! Car alarms, all the cars around her open up. And like, boop! She takes control of the guy's car in front of her and crashes it. Boop! She hacked the Homeland Security and downloaded a program that can control all nukes. Boop! Like, it's kind of funny. Boop, boop, boop. And I know she's a hacker, a magician, but it's just so hand-wavy. It just becomes like she's using a magic phone that can hack everything. Like those, the video game where it's like a GTA clone, a Grand Theft Auto clone, but you're going around hacking people. I forget the name of it in the moment, but it's like that, but in a movie form, and it's just kind of stupid. And I really like Fede Alvarez. All of his movies I really enjoyed, and I was rooting for him in this one because they clearly spent a lot of money, but I don't think I blame Fede Alvarez for this. Like, the direction is fine. Like, it's nothing amazing, but there's nothing horrible about it. I think the key to why this movie isn't good falls in the laps of the screenwriters and the producers of the film, or the studio, because they decided to do this. You know, it's horrible, but I think it almost makes more sense if you want to do it. Try to do like a full reboot, and maybe do the Girl with the Dragon's Tattoo again, or maybe do those sequels, or do something like or do a sequel to the original, you know, the one they had. But this one is just, it's so in the middle of nowhere. It's like in between everything, and I really think that if you just look at it without even thinking of anything of the history of these characters, the dialogue is horrible. Like, it's times where it's so bad and like so poorly written that it's almost like they're going for a joke, but I don't think it's supposed to be a joke. And probably the worst case of this is with Lakeith Stanfield's character. Like, he plays the NSA hacker guy that Elizabeth Salander steals the magic program from. And he comes over to Sweden, and he's a famous hacker that is also a soldier, and it's also, it's like, everyone is in it is so perfect, and like, but then until they make a mistake, until they go head to head with Lisbeth, and Lisbeth is perfect, and that's when she needs to lose, then her sister is perfect, and it's like, but with Lakey, so this thing where he is meeting the one hacker that helps out Lisbeth, and they're like kind of shooting the shit, you know, like doing, oh, you're a hacker? Yeah, I'm a hacker too. And it's an old computer, and they're like, oh yeah, I use this to take down the pharmacy companies. And like, oh, you're that guy? Yeah, I am. But the NSA pays more, a lot more. And it's like, it's so bad. And it's moments like that throughout the film that are just, the dialogue is so poorly written. And for the acting, Claire Foy is fine as Elizabeth Salander, but she's definitely the weakest of the bunch so far we've had. Like, she doesn't put that much impact in it. She's just kind of fine. And, like, I don't know, I mean, you have this character is kind of so iconic, and I think she didn't dive deep enough into it to deserve it. And everyone else, though, is pretty mediocre. Especially, like, the sister played by Sylvia Hoeks. Like, she is so over the top. It's like she's from a different movie or something. And it's just not very good. And I think, you know, for me, the biggest problem with the movie is that, like, beyond the dialogue and a lot of other weird choices they make, is just that it kind of goes back and forth, like it's, I don't know what it thinks it's doing, but at a certain point they play hot potato with the MacGuffin. Like, you really have two MacGuffins. You have the computer program everyone's after, and then you have the kid that has a key to the computer program that everyone's after. And the kid changes hands like 5 times, like at least 4 times the kid changes hands. So it's like they're playing hot potato with the MacGuffin, and like, oh, I steal the boy. No, you steal the boy. No, I steal the boy. No, you steal the boy. No, I steal the boy. And it's like, just maybe next time check his pockets for something, or just maybe just try to keep a hold of him. But they need that to drive the plot forward. And I think what's going on here is that when Lisbeth is doing her thing, she's had these long sequences where she's like a little mini heist, and she does her hacking, and she is perfect in every single thing she does. But then once she's done with that, like, she can't win that. There's still more movie, so they have to have the other group do a bunch of crazy things that end with her not being dead, but her losing, and they have to go back and forth like that to provide drama. But it just becomes like a bad roller coaster ride, and it's just a mess. I also think they lose a lot of the character when they try to make the story so expansive. Like, she's now saving the world from this evil gangsters that are trying to control the nukes around the world and set the world ablaze. And it's like, the other movies are more down to earth. They're more, and this one had a bit of that. Like, it's still about her family, essentially, in some points. but they lose that because of this firefall program. And honestly, if you know anything about nukes or the nuclear program, you're like, this is such bullshit. Because, in America at least, and I think other places too, but definitely in America, our nuclear program is like completely analog. And this one is like, I know, every nuclear is controlled by satellites. And if we can get the satellites, we control the nukes. And we push this button, and I control all the nukes in the world. And it's like, it's so stupid. But at the same time, like, the idea is that in America, the reason we haven't upgraded our computers that control the nukes is that they're, right now, they're unhackable. They're like, they have these, like, gigantic disks they have to use them for memory, but they're analog. Like, there's no internet, so it's impossible to hack them. And the idea of this object, that the MacGuffin that they're after, is just so ridiculous that it makes the whole movie even more ridiculous. And it's the time and again when Elizabeth Salander is doing stuff like she's like Bond, but not the current Bond, like one of the previous Bond, where she's doing the other crazy things and survives everything, and like it's impossible stuff, or almost like Indiana Jones in the last movie, not the ones before. But like and the funny thing is, like, they could do the stuff that makes sense, but they want to try to make it look cool, so they change it in a way that it doesn't make sense. As an example, in the trailer, there's a thing where like there's a firebomb going off, and she runs and jumps into a tub and like survives the blast. And first off, the funny thing is she's in the tub and she's in for a lot of it. She's essentially naked for a lot of it, but the water is like milky white, so you never even like see her naked. Like, at first I thought maybe they're trying to keep like a PG-13 rating, but the movies are, so I guess she just didn't want to be on screen naked. But the thing is, after the explosion, they could just made like a little bit of a fireball and it'd be fine. But they wanted to make it seem huge, so they go out like a couple blocks away and watch as her building goes a huge explosion. And you see the shockwave actually activates all the car's alarms blocks away. And it's like, if they wouldn't have done that, it would have been fine. But when you do that, you're like, shockwave is what kills people in an explosion. I mean, you also have to worry about the fire and the actual explosiveness and the shrapnel, but the shockwave is what turns all of your internal organs into mush. So I don't think jumping into a tub that's partially filled with milky water would save you. And they do a couple of things like that, like where she jumps off a bridge and lands on a lake that's partially covered in ice and drives off on a motorcycle. And it's like, it's kind of cool looking scene, but then to make it look more impactful, they added like CGI where the ice is really thin and like she's almost like driving on top of the water, like it's breaking underneath her. And it's like, if you, and in Sweden it gets really cold, and some places this ice can get really thick, so she could have just driven off on a frozen river. But by doing it like that, it just makes it unbelievable. And there's like scenes toward the end, like every sort of scene they have to make bigger to make it more like a big action set piece. And by doing that, it's like, that's not how it works. It's like there's so many other things like that where it kept drawing me out of the movie. Like when it didn't, it should have just been doing what it needed to do. But instead, it wanted to be huge and expansive and like almost like a superhero movie. It like lost the actual characters of the movie. Like, I still think it's so funny that if you're not have anything involved with these series of books and movies from that came before this one, you will not know who anyone is. Like, they don't. Like, they bring out, Claire Foy as Elizabeth Salander, and you have a little bit of an intro in the beginning, like, when she's kids with her sister, and the dad wants to rape them or do weird sex things with them, and she jumps out the building, and, like, multiple stories and lands in the snow and runs away. But they, after that, it's just Elizabeth Salander. Then at a certain point, you see the reporter, Mikhail Blomkvist, and if you didn't know who this guy is, you'd be like, who's this guy? What was he? Does he have a relationship with her? What's going on? Well, you never introduced him. And it's like, because of this, they're predicating this on you knowing everything about them. But like, it's in the actual movie, there's no introduction. And also, the guy that plays Mikhail Blomkvist, Severir Gudnadsson, he is 10 to 20 years too young. You know, the whole idea with Mikhail Blomkvist is he is the author. He is the author's avatar for his perfect girl, Lisbeth Salander. Like, that's the fantasy girl. I mean, the author put himself in the book as Mikhail Blomkvist. And in the story, he's almost like a weird father figure. Because Elizabeth has a lot of weird daddy issues. So when their relationship, they have an older man and a younger woman. That's what the relationship is based upon, kinda. But this one, they're like the same age. They're both like 30, and it's just kind of goofy. I don't know why they made that choice. But it's just, and then there's also stuff with, again, with the sister that's leading this Russian gang or whatever, and there's also stuff about her dad. If you even only watched the first movie, the only one that appeared in America, that was made for America, you wouldn't know anything about that. Like, the stuff about her father and her, and what was going on is in the second two books and movies. And that they have nothing in the first one. So it's like, you don't only have to see the one movie that appeared in America with, that wasn't subtitled, but you also have to know all the other ones too. And it's odd. I really wanted to like this movie. And like during it, I was kind of getting into it at certain points, when every time my brain would be like, this is stupid, and it would draw me out of it. And then after I watched the movie, the more I thought about it, the more I disliked it. And I would not recommend this, but it's not like a horrible movie. I mean, it's definitely watchable. So like, I mean, I would not recommend going to theaters to see it. But like, if you were like a year later, you see it on Netflix or it's on cable or something, it's worth checking out. But I would definitely more recommend the original Swedish trilogy, and the one that America got was okay, but I didn't love Daniel Craig in it. But honestly, it's fine. But I give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe like 6.25 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend it. But thanks for watching. You can check out video playlists on my head, or subscribe to me on that Z over there. And if you really want to, you can hit the bell for notifications. But whatever. See ya.